Hello, today I'm going to present to you the best attack strategy for Town Hall 13. Let's go! Here's the army composition. As you can see, it's quite unique. I'll warn you, it'll take some time before you really master it, but once you do, it's incredibly powerful. It works best for clan wars, although it's also very strong in multiplayer battles. And you'll see, it's super fun to use. I really enjoy playing with it. Let me go over the hero equipment you'll need. For the Barbarian King, you only need the Earthquake Boots. The rest is really up to you. If you have the Spiky Ball though, that's even better. For the Archer Queen, it's also totally flexible. Of course, there are some pieces like the action figure, or others that are definitely stronger, but they're not essential. However, one piece of equipment that's absolutely necessary is the Electro Boots on the Royal Champion. Mine are level 18, but that's not required, they just need to be at a decent level. The Brutal Spear is also highly recommended but not mandatory. If you don't have it, it's really not a big deal. And finally, for the Grand Warden, you just need the Eternal Tome. We can now move on to the first gameplay. For this first approach, I'm going to present the strategy in broad terms. First of all, it's divided into 4 distinct phases. The first one is the Champion phase. We'll be using our 5 invisibility spells for it. And just one thing, if these strategies seem a bit complicated at first, don't worry. I'll break everything down in the next gameplay so it's really easy to understand. You'll see, it's simpler than it looks. Let's get back to our first phase. The champion has one main goal, to destroy the enemy eagle, and of course a few extra buildings as a bonus. To do that, we're going to deploy her on the side of the enemy eagle. We'll use our 5 invisibility spells with good timing. I'll teach you exactly how to do that. Then, we'll recall her with our recall spell. It's important that she doesn't lose too much health so she can help us at the end of the attack. You'll see that later. It's super powerful. We destroy the last possible building, then recall her. Our first attack phase is a success. We achieved all our objectives. Now let's move on to our second phase, the hero phase. We'll use our 2 ice golems, our king and queen of course, and some funneling troops. We'll use one of the paths created by our champion. It could have been either left or right. The goal is to create a funnel for our third attack phase, our Sky Brid phase, short for Sky Hybrid. We'll make our first opens with our super all breakers, then activate the king's ability to open everything in the center. Next, we'll let her work on her own in phase 2. Now let's move on to phase 3. We finally deploy our catapult. There are 2 defenses in range that can target it, the Expos and the mortars, so we need to be careful. It will then work on its own, and we'll come back to it when the clan castle troops pop out. We can now move on to the 4th and final attack phase, the Sky Brid. Look at the nice path we created for our dragons with phases 1 and 2. We deploy all our dragons and balloons, and don't forget the Grand Warden. Then we quickly activate his ability and drop our first rage spell right away. After that, we send in the champion to help finish the village. Phase 4 will always be the same, no difficulties at all. We drop our second rage spell. This one is up to your judgment, it's just common sense. We also have 3 headhunters. Use them on the enemy heroes, as they can completely change the outcome of an attack. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but don't forget to deploy your cleanup troops. This is super important to avoid running out of time. Back to our catapult. We'll manually deploy the clan castle troops to support our main commando. We were facing a maxed out anti-3-star base with a clan castle, and yet look how comfortably we're doing. So, are you convinced by this strategy? Rate its cleverness out of 10 in the comments, and be honest. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate. I reply to absolutely everyone in the comments. Let's move on to the second gameplay. This time we'll go through the strategy in detail. Pay close attention, this is really important. So the eagle is here, we'll send our champion to that side, and that's our phase 1 planned. Next, we need to think about where to deploy our catapult. That'll be phase 3. We'll then adjust with our hero phase, phase 2, right after. First, we'll check the position and range of the mortars and expos. Here, I can see that the bottom of the base is pretty safe, and I also notice a slightly exposed catapult, potentially within reach of mine. It's decided, I'll place my catapult toward the bottom. But where exactly? Thanks to studying the range of these defenses, I found a safe spot for it, so I'll deploy it right here. Sometimes, unfortunately, there isn't really a good place to put our catapult. In that case, use it to create a funnel for our 4th attack phase, so that the clan castle troops can later join up with the rest. The most important points of the strategy have been covered, so we can now move on to the gameplay. First, a small detail. If we have the rocket spear, we try to place the champion out of range of any defenses and activate her ability right away. This helps save the champion's health. Next comes placing the invisibility spells. You'll see it's pretty simple, it's all about timing. We try to push the champion as far as possible. Phase 1 also has a secondary goal, baiting out the clan castle. That way the enemy clan castle troops can be dealt with easily by our queen and king afterward. To do that it's simple, leave the champion visible inside the clan castle's range for just a very short moment. Next we send in our hero phase on one side of our first attack phase. Creating the funnel with our 2 baby dragons is very important. Don't forget it. Also, don't forget to drop your poison spell on the enemy clan castle. And I still haven't mentioned it, but our free spell is very flexible. You can use it on the town hall, an inferno tower, or anywhere else. Basically, use it however you want. Once I've finished handling my hero phase, I deploy my catapult, right at the spot I planned. Next, we move on to deploying the dragons. We always prioritize placing them directly in front of the town hall. This way, we can make full use of our Grand Warden's ability and secure at least 2 stars. Anyway, there are plenty of reasons for doing it this way. With this strategy, there are often many non-defensive buildings left standing. So remember to deploy your cleanup troops. This is super important. Unfortunately, in this gameplay, I made a mistake. I deployed my catapult way too late, so it barely did any damage. You really need to place your catapult immediately after finishing phase 2. And finally, one last important thing. Try to deploy your champion so she follows a path with no inferno towers or enemy heroes. She'll be much more effective that way. And don't hesitate to like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. It takes time to make these videos, and seeing that you enjoy them really motivates me to keep going. Let's move on to the third and final gameplay. This time, we're not in a clan war, and yes, this composition works really well in multiplayer too. So I started by checking the placement of the mortars and expos. Then, as usual, I sent the champion toward the eagle. After that, I made a small variation. I sent the hero phase to the opposite side of phase 1. That's because I planned to place my catapult at the bottom. I deploy the ice golems, the wall breakers, and the baby dragons. It's always the same, really simple. Next, I deploy my catapult. This time it's going to do an excellent job. It will also support my commando afterward, which is perfect. Finally, I send in my dragon phase to finish wiping out the village. This composition is really too strong. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. I'll say goodbye and see you soon.